This podcast may contain adult language, adult situations, spoilers, and some brief nudity, so parental guidance is suggested.
We have such sights to show you.
After about 5 minutes of this movie, you're gonna wish you had 10 beers.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Oh, well. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-la, yeah.
Welcome back to the Cinema Recall Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cinema Recall Podcast. I am the Vern. This is Random Thoughts of a Movie Insomniac. This is the show where I talk about recent movies that I've watched either in theaters or at home. There are a few movies that I was able to see in theaters. I'm not going to talk about all of them, just a few of them on here. Please follow me on Letterboxd. If you go to our link tree and the bio, you'll see my Letterboxd head there. Go there, see my other reviews that I post on Letterboxd because it's a fun thing. There actually have been a few older movies that have gotten re-released in theaters, and it was a lot of fun to catch them again. And these are all new 4K transformations of them. And the first one I'm going to talk about is a movie that was essentially a bomb when it came out, and it was a failure for both critics and audiences. But now, in the 10 years it's been made, it's been getting somewhat of a reappraisal. And it is the Wachowskis' Speed Racer. Here's a TV spot. Enjoy. Hold on one second here.
Destined to race.
Racing's everything.
Determined to win.
And if you die?
I have no choice. That race was fixed. How can we fight this?
Let's go.
From the creators of the Matrix trilogy.
See you at the finish line.
Speed Racer. Rated PG. In theaters and IMAX May 9th.
All right. So Speed Racer is written and directed by Alana and Lily Wachowski. They, of course, did the Matrix trilogy. They did Bound and other movies. We get a chance to check out our episode on Bound because that is a great feature. But with Speed Racer, the Wachowskis basically just wanted to do their adaptation of the 60s TV show. And I absolutely loved what they did with this very much. And they took this very stylistic cartoon, probably one of the first animes of the 60s, and brought it to the big screen, and had all the vibrant colors and sound designs. Those race car sequences that happen are absolutely just wild, and it fits so much what an anime cartoon can look like in live action. It is the best adaptation of an anime that I have ever seen, ever. All right. And I don't know. I know they're talking about doing an Akira remake. That would never work. The Ghost in the Shell live action version can't even touch this because Lana and Lily Wachowski were not afraid to just go absolutely bonkers with it. And this movie came out around the same time, I want to say Iron Man and The Dark Knight. And I don't think audiences at the time were ready for a movie as bombastic and as colorful as this. All right. It is a overload for your eyeballs. All right. It gets wild. And I know people are commenting that the visuals feel too cartoonish. And I was like, they could have gone and make this more cartoonish if they wanted to, because the visuals were great. The colors. I love how they do scene transitions, how they have one actor talk about something and then it goes over someone else's face and then it becomes another transition. I hope to God, because there's going to be a 4K version of this. I hope the 4K version of this has a director's commentary to talk about all those scene transitions, because me just talking about it does not do any good at all, because it's a weird thing where like one actor's in frame and then another actor's face comes over their face, and then the camera zooms in, and then suddenly we're like in a different scene transition. It's absolutely wild. Emil Hirsch as Speed is good. You got John Goodman as his father Pops. You have Susan Sarandon as his mom. Christina Ricci as his girlfriend. It is great, and it is a kids' film. It is unapologetically a kids' film. It's not, you know how most other kids' films want to put in like mature topics. No, it doesn't do that. But it is a mature movie because this is sort of a statement about capitalism. And if you ever get a chance to watch Patrick H. Williams' review of Speed Racer, I'll put I'll put links in the show notes about it. But in that video, they kind of talk about how Speed Racer is up and coming racer, and then he gets propositioned by a corporation to work for them because they like what his racing does. And that's sort of a statement about how the Wachowskis started out, because they had an independent movie called Bound, which got noticed, and then Warner Brothers were like, hey, you know how to make a movie here. We want to hire you to do this big project that you want to do. And that was The Matrix. The Matrix made a whole bunch of money, and then they made sequels. But then I think either it was Lana or Lily, one of them was talking about when they were doing the third one, they just got so bored of having everything look the same. And they just wanted to say, screw it. We are going to do something completely different than what the Matrix is. And they made Speed Racer. And I'm upset that Speed Racer did not make the money and did not get critical praise, because if it did, we would be seeing like a Speed Racer 2 and 3, and especially the way that computer technologies have advanced visuals, I can totally imagine how freaking cool it would be to see Speed Racer now. So I don't know. I'm hoping that now that it's come back to 4K, and the screen that I went to, it was full and everyone was laughing and they were enjoying and having a good time. It's a big rousing experience there, more than the first time I saw it in theaters. Now, when I saw the movie back in 2008, I enjoyed the hell out of it because it was like hyper chaotic candy for the eyeballs, and I absolutely just enjoyed the hell out of it. But everyone around me was not really enjoying it so much. So 10 years, people now enjoy Speed Racer. And that reminds me, well, other movies that have done badly, like The Bride, 10 years from now, will The Bride be better? I don't know, maybe not, but definitely if you get a chance to watch Speed Racer in theaters, do it. It is a fun experience. Loved it completely. I cannot wait for the 4K Steelbook whenever it comes out, because I will definitely watch that. I'm hoping there's a bunch of special features. I'm hoping for an audio commentary from Lana and Lily Wachowski on that disc. That would be amazing. Who knows? Maybe this will fund them for the next project, and I happily will enjoy that. So yeah, Speed Racer, hell of a fun time. Really enjoyed that. The other movie that I got to watch in theaters in 4K was David Fincher's fourth feature. This after he did Alien 3 and then 7 and The Game. His fourth feature was Fight Club. And it's a feature with Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, Helena Bonham Carter. And let's go ahead right now, and we are going to take a quick look at a TV spot from Fight Club. We'll be back.
How much can you know about yourself? You've never been in a fight.
What?
From the director of 7.
I was stuck. You want me to prioritize my current reports? This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
Gentlemen, welcome to Fight Club.
And then I met Tyler Durden.
The first rule of Fight Club is do not talk about Fight Club. Wow, nice. You're gonna start a fight with a total stranger.
That's not necessary.
In Tyler, we trusted.
We gotta take Fight Club up a notch.
That hurt. I'm stopping this.
It's already done, so shut up.
Brad Pitt.
You were looking for a way to change your life. You got it.
Edward Norton.
This is too much.
In the end, you will thank me.
Wow! Wow! Fight Club. Rated R. October 15th only in theaters.
All right. So I should, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to like spoil Fight Club at all or anything like that. But I still to this day find this movie to be a very funny takedown on masculinity and the whole like male ego in sort of ways. And also, it is very darkly funny. The basic premise is that Edward Norton is a guy who can't sleep well and meets up with Brad Pitt's character, and they both form this like fight club to make themselves feel better about themselves. But then Brad Pitt's character wants to start up this whole other army, and things go way chaotic. And then we got Helen Bottom Carter, who's kind of stuck in the middle between these two. The movie, when I saw this movie back in '99, there were many elements that I found extremely funny. The whole men supporting men, all the support groups that Edward Norton's character goes to, he gets addicted to these. I found that to be very funny. When they talk about a certain cancer patient looking like Meryl Streep that had a skeleton pull over his face, I found that to be funny. Marla saying that she hasn't been fucked like that since grade school, I thought that to be very funny. And when I watched this in '99 in theaters, there were a lot of people laughing in the theater with me. Maybe uncomfortable laughing, but they were laughing. When I saw this in theaters not too long ago, I must have been laughing so much that a guy sitting next to me got offended and left and walked 2 seats or so down the row and sat down because, yeah, I was laughing at things that he was probably not finding comfortable. And I imagine to a lot of like Gen Z and Alpha, they're probably not going to find this movie to be funny, but I did. The whole scene where you had the people from Fight Club had to pick a fight with a random stranger and all this stuff happens there. I found that to be very funny. It's just really goofy, dark comedy. And I think it's okay to sort of laugh at the situations of these characters because they're not necessarily all that nice of people. In fact, the only decent person in this movie is Marla. All right. It's one of those movies that you watch again and watch it from her perspective because she is the only one that has any type of humanity and emotion. So this is mostly becomes more like Marla's story than really anyone else's. When you first watch it, you watched it from Edward Norton's perspective, but then second time, you're definitely watching it from Marla's perspective. So yeah, still to this day, very funny. Brad Pitt has worked with David Fincher since like Seven. I mean, gosh, he did Seven, Fight Club, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and he's also going to be in the new Once Upon a Time in Hollywood series. So very excited about that. So I think whenever David Fincher and Brad Pitt work together on a movie, it's great. Edward Norton, I know he's been in a Knives Out movie, but what the hell has Edward Norton done recently? I don't know. Helen Bonham Carter, she was married to Tim Burton. But yeah, still very funny movie. I think Chuck Palahniuk definitely became one of my favorite authors after this movie. And I've read Choke, and I've read Diary, and Invisible Monsters. I still need to read Haunted. I have Haunted downloaded for the audiobook. I definitely will listen to that. I'm just finished up some other books right now, but that's on my listen list is to listen to Haunted. And I heard that is crazy as well. Yeah, just absolutely enjoyed Fight Club. It's still for me a classic. And even if you've seen the movie and you know the twist, I like movies where the twist does not define the movie itself. Like, I like The Sixth Sense, but that twist is basically the movie, all right? There are no other good elements about The Sixth Sense besides that twist. I mean, yeah, it's well acted, but Fight Club is a movie that I can watch regardless of the twist. And I think it's really a fun movie. Shout out to my friend Jason Soto because he did an episode of this on That's the Bomb Yo, hella rad movies of the 90s, and his guest was David Rosen of Piecing Together. David Rosen, who is a recent guest on this show, talking about Licorice Pizza for a Paul Thomas Anderson series. So a little shout right there for those wonderful gents. But yeah, Fight Club, great movie, and I enjoyed it completely there. So that's kind of what I saw in theaters. Like I said before, I have other reviews on our Letterboxd page, and there are links on most social media apps like Twitter and Threads, and I believe also Instagram too, so you can find our links to our Letterboxd page there. But I did go to the library, because the library is like the last place you can go to that actually does carry physical media here. And I have a bit stack. I picked up other movies too, but I want to talk about the movies that I've never seen before. And I'm going to talk about, first of all, a movie called Drop. All right. And this is from Christopher Landon, who also did the Happy Death Day movies, and I believe he did Sissy. And this movie here stars Megan Fahey, and she is this mother who is going on a first date. She hasn't dated in a while, and while she is at this restaurant with her date, she keeps getting these messages from this random person doing these drops. Kids, I have no idea what drops are. So if you could like make a mention in the comments about what a drop is, I appreciate that. But apparently, this random person at this restaurant is sending her this drop saying that if you do not kill your date, we will kill your son. And she sent these videos of this guy at this house, and he's probably going to kill her son and her sister. And so she's trying to figure out who this person is while also trying to stall time to make sure that her date doesn't get killed. And like I said before, I was a big fan of Happy Death Day, and I even liked Freaky, the movie with Vince Vaughn, by Switch movie. This one, I had major issues with this because, and this is going to sound bad, I hated her kid. All right. Her kid was so annoying. I did not care if the kid got off or not. So that lost the suspension there. And I almost wish that the bad guy was a little bit more like cunning. And then it gets to the point where after the person is revealed, and it's a nice revelation, and there's this great fight, the movie wants to continue on even more, and that's where it lost me. If it would have ended with after the reveal, because it's a good way, the way that she does reveal who the person is fun, but after that, it just lost me, and it goes on for way longer than it should have. So yeah, I did not really care anything really for Drop, but that was Drop. And then going to an older movie. Actually, all these are going to be older movies. I saw Picnic at Hanen Rock, and this is from director Peter Weir, who also did The Truman Show, and I think he also did Witness as well. And those are both really good movies. And I won't lie, I've heard this movie mentioned on some sort of list of like horror movies or movies that are disturbing. So Picnic at Hanen Rock is set in the 18th century, and it's about these girls who go on a picnic to this area where there's like this huge black rock. And while on a picnic, a few of the girls, they decide to go and explore and see what's happening. And then one of the girls says, "No, don't go in there." And then she screams, and girls that were exploring Black Rock, they go missing. And then the whole rest of the movie is really about solving the mystery about what happened to these girls. And there's all this like speculations from other members of the school. And there's also these two boys, and you think that maybe they were involved. Bottom line, I watched this whole movie expecting that they are going to show me exactly what happened to these girls. And you know what? Yeah, they never showed me. Not once. They never showed me anything about what happened to them. Like, I almost expected something like The Descent. Like, we're gonna have like these mutant creatures coming out and exploring and telling me what happened with these girls. But nope, never saw that, never gotten that. So I was very disappointed. Good acting all around, and it definitely had the atmosphere that something creepy was going to happen, but it never did. So yeah, Picnic at Haunted Rock, I just did not find what the appeal of that movie was. So yeah, so far, 2 movies, not so great. All right. Then we're gonna get into a feature from a filmmaker that I have a lot of respect for, and that's Mr. Steven Spielberg. And he did a movie called The Sugarland Express. This is the movie that he made before he did Jaws. And you can see my background over there. I've got Jaws stuff over there. I can't really see what my finger is, so it's Jaws stuff. It's over there. But yeah, this is the movie that he made before Jaws, starring a young Goldie Hawn and William Atherton. I'll explain William Atherton later. So Goldie Hawn plays a woman who gets out of jail or some sort of correctional facility, and she wants to get her husband out of his correctional facility so that they can travel to a town on the Sugarland Express where their son is being he was adopted from a foster parent, and so they want to get their son back. And they take another guy hostage, and I think his name is Michael Sachs. He plays the hostage. So they take this cop hostage, and they're going on this big, long road trip with a whole bunch of cops following them. And the 2 convicts and this guy, they become friends during the whole ordeal. It's based on a true story. I think Steven Spielberg does do a good job with these actors and the situations. The biggest thing for me is seeing William Atherton as the romantic sidekick to Goldie Hawn, because William Atherton has always played an a-hole in other movies. He was the guy from Ghostbusters who wanted to shut down the Ghostbusters containment unit, and he's the guy that caused all the ghosts to happen, and then he caused problems for what is it now, Stephen Baldwin and Pauly Shore and Biodome. So he was the a-hole there, and it's like every movie he's been in, he's usually being an a-hole. But in this one, Sugarland Express, he plays kind of an endearing guy, and this movie didn't do so well at the box office, and I wonder if Sugarland Express did do better, would William Atherton be a romantic lead in movies? I don't know for sure. Goldie Hawn is adorable. It's a fun movie. It kind of reminds me like a later version of Badlands and Bonnie and Clyde, but definitely more like Badlands, but it doesn't have that Terrence Malick feel to it. In fact, Badlands and Sugarland Express be kind of a cool little film feature there. Excuse me. So yeah, it's good. I mean, it's fun to watch this and then see what he did with Jaws, and like Jaws is like an all-time classic, and it's almost like when Robert Zemeckis made I Want to Hold Your Hand and then Used Cars. Maybe that's a bad comparison for directors there, but overall, I'm glad I watched it, but it's not one I want to watch again. All right, now I gotta say this one. The next movie, I got one to talk about last because I got a lot of stuff to say about it. The next one I picked up, and it was Naked from director Mike Lee. Now, the only other movie I saw from Mike Lee was Happy Go Lucky with my girl Sally Hawkins, and it is a very light, breezy tale. Naked is not that. Naked stars David Thewlis, Katrin Cartilage, Leslie Sharp. David Thewlis, who I know as being a very nice guy, not personally, but of the movies I've seen him in, he seems to be a very quirky, fun-loving gentleman. In Naked, how do I describe this movie? So he plays this guy who is a really piece of shit human being. And we are stuck with them right from the get-go. He is doing a heinous act to someone, and then he drives off in his car, and he's going to visit his ex-girlfriend, and she has a roommate there, and he hooks up with the roommate because she thinks he's charming, and then he leaves in like this stupor, and he just goes and has all these different conversations with these random people. And I don't know how he gets involved with them, and he does good things to some people and bad things to other. He's a very complicated person. This is like a movie that is it's very well acted, and all the performances are great, but I did not like this. All right, so I don't know for sure I recommend it because it is strong. Like David Thewlis, I mean, I would have put him up for best actor in this because he is a really good actor. It's just the person is really terrible, and I don't think he really learns anything, and maybe that's the point. There's another character in this who is even worse than him, and just what irritates me is that the two girls that he's living with, especially one of the girls, is like so into him and so like in love with him, it doesn't really matter what he does. He even hurts her, and yet she still wants to stay with him. And maybe that has a statement about people who want to stay in abusive relationships because they feel alone. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, give me your thoughts on Mike Lee's Naked. Is there other movies from him, him I should watch? Yeah, I don't know. Mike Lee's Naked was just a very weird. Where did my water go on my drink? Yeah, it's just weird, strange. All right, next movie, last movie that I got. By the way, support your local library because all these movies are picked up at my local library. So very cool. All right. Oh, all right. Next one, last one. I probably showed you a picture of it already. Sorcerer is the last movie I saw. Now this is from director William Friedkin. Of course, you know he did The Exorcist and To Live and Die and LA and other movies that I can't think of off the top of my head. Starring Roy Scheider and Bruno Kramer. I don't know any of the actors in this besides Roy Scheider, and that's sort of my connection with that Steven Spielberg movie that I just talked about because hey, he was in Jaws. So, all right, so Sorcerer is about these three guys who have to bring two truckloads of nitroglycerin to this other town to help save it. And this is the movie that I actually started watching and I stopped it because I was not into this movie at all. Because it starts off with this one guy and he got shot, and then we have these other three guys and they plant a bomb, and then they get captured, and then there's this French guy who I think sold the weapons to them. And then we have Roy Scheider. He's part of like this criminal crew who kill this priest and take his money, but this priest may be working for this mob. So now Roy Scheider goes into hiding and he meets up with a French dude. They're both in hiding in this like South American place. And then they somehow get hired to drive this truck. And look, the sequences where they actually have to bring this truck to this area, and it's all done in areas where it's like raining hard. And the most like kind of scene is like they're driving across this like bridge, and the bridge is very unsteady, and so they have to be really careful about where they drive because it's like one bump. If this truck has one little bump, it's filled with nitroglycerin, and that truck could basically go. All right, and it's fun seeing them I guess, be able to solve issues and how they're able to get away. But I, I don't know, folks. This movie just lost me. Like I said before, it took too long for me to get to them with the truck. Why do we need that scene with like the Frenchman and all of his story? I felt like that was a separate movie. Or if they would have told that, they could have told that easily like in 10 minutes. And they could have established the Roy Scheider character really quick in another 10 minutes. This movie did not need to be 2 hours long, all right? This would easily been 70 minutes, all right? 90 at most, but not 2 hours long. The sequences where they're trying to bring this truck places, that was intense. That was intense because they had to travel through these rains in the jungle, and the terrain is not right or perfect. So, yeah, it was just not at all what I had in mind for that. It just, bah, I say, it was frustrating. So, yeah, my gosh, I feel like all the movies I watched here, the only one that actually was any type of enjoyment was Sugarland Express, and it's not a movie I want to watch again. So that's it right now. That's all I have to say about the movies that I saw in theaters and what I picked up from the library. If you are on our YouTube page, we actually have a couple episodes out right now. We have our episode on Licorice Pizza with David Rosen of Piecing It Together for our Paul Thomas Anderson series called PTA Meetings. I also have our continuation of our Recalling Rodriguez series, talking about the movie From Dusk Till Dawn with Aaron Newworth of Out Now with Aaron and Abe. So that's very cool. And also, please check out my other podcast, The Rotten Truth, over at Rabbit Hole Podcast, for me and Danny Roberts. We talk about movies that have got low ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. Next up will be Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and we are going to be doing other episodes. We have a brand new series coming for there as well. Please leave me comments and tell me exactly what movies you like and don't like. Do you disagree with me on the movies that I talked about here? Maybe so. That's it. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I love you all very much. And please leave us ratings and comments, like, subscribe, do all the stuff you want to do. Follow us also on our podcast apps. Check out our website, cinemarecall.net, because I do post written reviews on there as well that are not listed on these video episodes. But anyways, folks, that's all right now. I am the Vern, and I love you all very, very much, and I will talk to you later.